All right. Good morning, everyone. If you guys can hear me okay, I want you to mess around with Zoom, press the raise hand button, type hi into chat, whatever it is exactly. Press any button. Let me know that you guys can hear me. And first off, welcome you all to the training. And here's the cool thing. I've been talking about this a couple of times already. I've been using Zoom for the past couple webinars, and it's great because you people actually end up engaging with each other and helping each other out in chat. So as I talk about things, go ahead and feel free to just chime in with whatever your thoughts are, whether you agree, disagree with me, or it's like, oh, this is the resource he's talking about. It all helps at the end of the day. So we're just going to wait a couple more minutes here as we wait for people to jump in, just probably 2-3 more minutes as people fly in. And I'm just curious, where are you guys all coming from right now? Type it into chat. I'm always curious. Okay, so San Diego. I'm actually going to be in San Diego next week. I'm hosting a happy hour or co-hosting a happy hour during Traffic and Conversion Conference. So you can check that out. Just type in Traffic and Conversion Conference. You should be able to find the event. I think it's a public event. So maybe I'll get to meet you in person. Audra is from Washington, D.C. Vicky in New York. I'll actually be in New York in about 2 months or so. Louisville, Kentucky. We got Brian. Right, who else we got? Sao Paulo. Cool. I was there recently. No, not recently. I guess about a year ago, so it's not that recent. And Flavius from Romania. So appreciate you jumping on in the evening. And we got Raymond from South Africa too. Hello, Raymond. So here's what we're going to do. I am actually going to share my screen with you guys. Lydia, hello from San Francisco. I was there 2 weeks ago. Love it there. And I'll actually be back next week, Thursday. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you guys can see my screen, and we will go from there. Let's go over here. And Lydia, I'm going to be speaking at Revenue Summit, so I'm not sure if you're going there. But if you guys can see my screen, go ahead and press the raise hand button. It's not in presentation mode yet. Okay, great. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to talk about how you can grow your organic traffic without new content or backlinks, because we're tired of having to write brand new content all the time. We're tired of having to do the thankless job of link outreach all the time. So basically my goal here is to walk through this, and then we'll do some Q&A afterwards, and then you'll be on our way. I want you to take one thing away from this. And I do want to let you know that there is an offer with this as well. And if you're if you want to just to check out the offer, you can go check out the offer right now. It's just singlegrain.com/demo. And it's for our SEO product that is called ClickFlow. Sharon, I'm happy to answer your questions later. And guys, by the way, go ahead and use the Q&A, use the chat. I am going to review the questions periodically, ask questions, and then from time to time, I might just jump in and start answering some questions as we go through it. It's really meant to be engaging. No, even though the topic, I do this topic a couple of times, no training is really ever the same because of the different conversations that we have. And really that falls on you, and it falls on me as well to kind of keep the conversation going. So just a quick reintroduction to me, because all of you are coming in from basically the warm channels that we have. So first and foremost, thanks for checking out our content, whether it's the video content, being on our email list, checking out the podcast. So just a quick refresher, that's me. My name's Eric Su. You can see I run a digital marketing agency called SingleGrain. So these are some of the clients that we work with, mainly help with paid advertising, SEO, and then video production work as well. And I have a podcast with my co-host Neil Patel called Marketing School. So really this training, even though this training I would say is more for kind of intermediate to advanced people, even if you want to get some value from looking at Marketing School, for example, that's really for beginners to intermediate to advanced. And even some of the topics we're going to cover today, some of the frameworks, they do also help beginners as well. So this is really for across the entire spectrum. So Marketing School, we do this every day. Subscribe to the podcast. We love it when you guys leave us comments on it. Both of us get a real big kick from people where when we get feedback saying, hey, like I just found my first job and I have no college degree because of Marketing School. That's what really gets both of us excited. We personally don't really make money directly from the podcast. We don't run any ads on it right now. And we enjoy nerding out on marketing, and it kind of holds us both accountable. And the other thing is I have a podcast called Growth Everywhere. So I've been doing this one for 4 years, actually longer than Marketing School. And so this one, Marketing School, gets about 600. We're on track for 640,000 downloads a month. Growth Everywhere gets about anywhere from 80,000 to 90,000 a month. And this is weekly where I interview entrepreneurs. We talk about business, personal growth. I've talked to people that have invented the magnetic credit card stripe, little credit card stripe you have on the back of your credit cards. People that sold their companies for billions. Jason Lemkin from EchoSign, who now runs the SaaStr conference, and a whole bunch of other people. So it really gives you two different dynamics just to hear stories from other people and how they grew their business. And then Marketing School is just, Neil and I, just quick, short, to the point, 5 to 10 minutes every day. Every single day, you're going to get something from us. So that's that. So I'm going to jump into the content right now. And I talk fast, by the way. So if you need a replay for this, go ahead and you feel free to send me an email afterwards, and then we will get you the replay link to this. So the first concept I want to talk to you about is called the hub and spoke model. So when we think about creating content, we don't want something like this. This is like a PR spike. This is like getting on a Wall Street Journal for one day, or like a Los Angeles Times or a New York Times for one day. You don't want this because it's very fleeting, right? It's almost nerve-wracking to have to continually produce content like this and only get one spike, and then it kind of just goes to nothing, right? Ideally, you want something more like this, something that's more evergreen, something that's more sustainable. So people will continue to read that content over time. Now, the way you can do that is utilizing a concept called the hub and spoke model. So you can feel free to take a picture of this, but the way this works is you have one middle hub page. This is the main topic page. You can consider this the introduction page or the overview page. And then you have these little spoke pages that link to it, and they kind of cross-link to each other. So that way, what you're doing is you are combining pieces together, and you're making a big piece, right? It's not just pieces that are a blog post here, a blog post there, everything's kind of fragmented. You're putting them all together and you're forming something bigger. So the way I like to think about this, and maybe I should add this to my slides, I was at Airbnb about 2 weeks ago. I was at the office, and my friend was showing me around, and I was looking, and then they actually have these these toys. And I always like to compare this to building, well, if those of you that watch anime or any like Power Rangers in the past, you think about Voltron, right? It's those 5 tigers. You put them all together, it makes this giant robot that can like fight and has a sword and all that. So it's more powerful when you join forces. Now, same thing with the Power Rangers, right? When they have the Megazord, right, they can kill any big monster out there. So just me kind of reminiscing on the, I guess on my childhood days. But anyway, so this is what it looks like. You're combining pieces together to build a big piece. Now, here's a real life example in the context of online marketing. So if you Google conversion rate optimization, and we'll actually do this live in a second, you can see here, Qualaroo, they rank for what is conversion rate. Well, they rank for conversion rate optimization, but they have this entire guide. Now, this is the hub page right here, and it is an overview, and it has links to the different chapters. So the first chapter is what is conversion rate optimization? Chapter 2, why conversion rate optimization is important. So you kind of just keep going down the list. And again, you're looking to form something bigger. So the idea is that once you have a main hub page linking to all these spokes, and they're kind of supporting each other as well, and also linking back to the hub page, Google sees that and they're all relevant. You're creating a cluster basically, and that cluster is going to do better than others. And I'm going to show you real life examples of how this really works. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my screen right now to my browser. So give me 1 second. So let's do this right here. And when you guys can see my screen, give me 1 second. Let's go over here. Okay. All right. So raise your hand if you can see my screen, the new screen. Okay, cool. All right, wonderful. See, look at this. See, Zoom is so good. It's just like everyone's so engaging. I love you guys more for that. Makes me feel like I'm doing something special. But thanks for making me feel special. So if I Google conversion rate optimization right here, you can see, okay, here's the ads, here's the rank 0. Okay, here's the answer box, or the Q&A box. And then, right now what's going on is Qualaroo kind of flip-flops with Moz. And so if we look at the Qualaroo, so number 2 is not that bad, right? Sometimes it's at number 1. So if you click on number 2 right here, we can see, okay, this is the hub page. This is the overview. It's giving you a quick definition on conversion rate optimization. Why should you care? And then it's linking to all these other ones. And then it's basically become a PDF too. Now, I can tell you there's a reason why this might have dropped to number 2. And it doesn't look the same as what I just showed you, right? It doesn't look exactly the same. And we'll go back to the slide in a second, but it does not look the same. Now, what they did was they made this into a PDF instead. They're not linking to the content anymore. So it's like, hey, get access to all 12 chapters, right? So that's one thing. They changed it up. Yes, the design is better. They're trying to collect more leads from it. Fine. Okay, great. But you can see, well, there's some issues, right? Because it's no longer the powerful piece that they had before, at least in front of Google's eyes, right? Now, I get Qualaroo has to generate more leads. They have to generate more free trials. This actually used to have more navigation. They made it into the squeeze page. So they're just trying to get more leads, more free trials, which is completely fine. Now, another example is if we Google online marketing, my co-host, Neil Patel, guess what? He's #1 right here. He's actually got #1 and #2, okay? So, a lot of link acquisition, a lot of link building work that we do, they do very similar work. But also it's not just link building, but if you look at the beginner's guide to online marketing, it is not just a really good hub page. So here's the introduction, but it's also linking to these different chapters right here, and we can click on them. So let's go ahead and click on one. Every single chapter is beautiful. It's well designed. It's well written. And if you listen to the Growth Everywhere interview I did with him maybe 3-4 years ago, he said he spent $30,000 on this guide and he just gave it away for free. It's just because the same thing with marketing school. We're just really trying to do a good job for people and then capture the mind share of people and just continue to provide value. So, 2 examples here. I mean, online marketing, it's pretty sweet if he's ranking #1 for it. And then the conversion rate optimization, ranking #1/2 for it is a pretty good result. Cool. So before we hop into the next section, I want to ask you guys a question. And it looks like I cannot ask you guys a question. So I'm going to move back to the other slides really quick. So moving back to the other slide, I'm going to stop my share. I'm going to move over. And then I am going to go ahead and share screen. And then I'm gonna, if you guys can see the screen again, raise your hand. Okay, cool. All right, so you can see it. We're back on the screen over here. This Qualaroo page is different from the last one. The last one was a squeeze page. You can see there's no navigation on the last page we're looking at. This one is the old one. It does have navigation. So really depends on your business goals at the end of the day. Okay. So next thing is the secret to maximizing your content. So I think a lot of us out there, and maybe a quick show of hands. I mean, how many of you are actually producing more than one piece of blog content or more than one piece of content per week? Raise your hand. Okay, so actually, it seems like there's not that many of you that do that. But so for us, at least, the cadence is at least once for any of our blogs out there. Sometimes it's even daily. So it really just depends on kind of where you're at with your business and how much you want to invest into content marketing. So the secret to maximizing your content, if you're producing content already without having to do brand new content all the time, having to ideate for brand new stuff all the time, is looking at Wikipedia. So this example right here, Abraham Lincoln, this post, and here's the reason why Wikipedia does so well. It's just because of this example I'm about to give you. Well, the thing that they do is you look at in 2007, this had about 13,000 words. In 2011, the Abraham Lincoln page had 18,000 words. In 2014, 20,000 words. In 2017, 24,000 words. So basically what we did was we looked at the Wayback Machine. So the idea is this. They are constantly updating their content because you have people that are users that are basically constantly adding to it over time. And so it's constantly getting refreshed. And it's a really epic piece of content. So the goal is to, if you can write something really in depth, if you can have the kind of canonical piece, go out there and do it. But don't just write long form content for long form sake because you're not adding the most value at the end of the day. Okay. So what we did was we took one of our posts, 10 companies with the best digital marketing campaigns, and we basically added some companies to it. We removed some other ones. We upgraded it, and we also updated it at the same time. So you can see here in 2016, if you look at the second row, it actually had, let's see, about 731. You can see in the bold right here, 731 visits per month, which is not bad for one blog post. And what we did in 2017 was we decided to upgrade it. And it now gets about 2,800 in 2017, it gets about 2,800 visits per month. So that's a 4x increase, right? So not bad for just, taking a piece of content and then having some kind of framework to go out and update it. I can tell you now, you're going to see my Google Search Console in a little bit. I can tell you now that post gets even more traffic. So not only that, I mean, some of you are probably wondering like, oh, Eric, well, what's the ROI of content marketing? And this is a question I get from my team sometimes. It's like, what's the ROI of content marketing? And what I did was I said, hey, look at our entire list of clientele. Everything is from content marketing. I consider building relationships, networking with people. I consider that content marketing. I consider everything. I mean, podcasting, content marketing, YouTube, content marketing, blog posts, right? All content marketing. Now you can see what I've highlighted here. If you look at the bottom right, this post actually generates free consultation leads for the agency. So for us, we do marketing services for people. And well, guess what? If it drives leads, that's clear ROI for us, because we can tie the lead value to a free consultation, and then we can just multiply it by a certain number, and we know how much we're getting from that post. So the key thing here is, if you're looking to do this, if you have stakeholders that are involved as well, you want to make sure that you are building out some kind of tracking. So yes, it's annoying. It's, it takes time. Like, nobody wants to do data entry, but if you want to make a business case, you got to show results. You got to show numbers. So we basically did this. We did content updates month before and month after, and we can see all these increases across the board. It's all green. So for us, it's a no-brainer. It's really important for people to think about, okay, if we're looking to maximize our content, how do we build a framework for updating and upgrading our content? So I'm going to give you a framework that you can use and get ready to screenshot it. But before I actually do that, I want to ask you guys a question. And I'm trying to figure out how to do this in Zoom really quick. Maybe I can just type this in. I'm literally doing this live right now. Actually, I don't even think I can do this right now. So you know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to answer some of your questions before I go into the framework. So I'm going to look at the chat really quick. Let's see. Tracy says, would love to hear about the difference in service marketing versus product marketing strategies / approaches. That's actually a good topic that I can perhaps do in a future webinar. Joe, thanks for saying that you started listening to Marketing School. Thank you. And then Sharon, what are some of the best events that you present at for B2B companies to attend? I can tell you, so Revenue Summit next week in San Francisco, that's going to be a really good B2B one. And then I'm going to be speaking, I believe, at Active Campaign. That's going to be in Chicago. And then probably going to be speaking at Nextiva again. And then there's a growth marketing conference at the Fairmont in San Francisco. That's in December. So anyway, Audra, yes. So are you and Neil doing a community subscription model? We will be doing that. That's going to be coming out soon. That's a separate product. We're going to be having a certification program for marketing school. So basically something your team can use, or if you're looking to kind of get into marketing, we're going to have different certifications. So I'm actually curious, for those of you that might be interested in a certification program from marketing school that we're kind of organizing things into a product, raise your hand if you think that would be interesting. Wow. Okay. Really good feedback. Thank you guys. Okay, cool. That's really helpful, and that makes me happy. Okay. So here's the framework. Take your phone out, whatever. Maybe not take your phone out. Maybe just screenshot it on your computer, because you're probably watching from a computer. But here's the framework. So what you want to do here is, this framework is created from a SEO, international SEO called Aleyda Solis. That's her name. So you just start from the top right. So is this topic covered by existing content? Okay, well, is it outdated? Is the featured information not useful anymore? Okay, if so, go ahead and let's update it. If not, let's move to the next step. Is it incomplete, or can we add something to it? So Abraham Lincoln, for example. Okay, great, let's expand it. So going with the Abraham Lincoln example again, okay, well, if it's up to date, or we've expanded it enough, let's move on to the next thing. Can we cover it in a different format? Can we perhaps make that into a YouTube video? Can we do an Abraham Lincoln webinar? Can we move that into a social media post? You definitely can do that. You want to think about reformatting it. So just to give you an example, I think about, there's one woman that sells courses over here in Southern California. Her name is Shalene Johnson. And so what she does is, one of her frameworks is she starts with a Facebook Live first. She's really good at engaging with people, talking with people, teaching people over video. And what happens afterwards is she will make them into blog posts. She will make them into separate videos. She will make them into social media images. So you got to think about what works for you. And I'm also thinking about, setting some kind of content foundation. Because for me, I find joy from doing podcasts, for example. I find a lot of joy from that. I enjoy writing, but podcasts are just much faster for me. So I can see things through podcasts first, and then I can start my content reusage workflow. So you might be good at video, for example, or you might be really good at vlogging, or you might be blogging. So you might be really good at blogging. It just depends on what content you're really good at. So you start with the foundation first. You start with that seed, and then from there you can build a workflow off of that. So you don't necessarily need to start with blogging. Think about what works for you, and then go from there. Am I making sense? Okay. Cool. So one thing we do with Marketing School here is that, well, we take the audio content we have, and we have people that write the show notes. So imagine we're doing one episode every single day. This one, I mean, it's what, 261, but we're actually, I think we've recorded about 600 episodes already. So we are approaching, or maybe not 600, close to 600. So what we're doing is Google's not going to be able to see the audio content. So we are transcribing the content, and we're having people write the show notes to make it digestible for people like you that are listening in. And that's going to get us a lot more search traffic. Imagine we have one new post coming out every single day, and that's how we're maximizing our content. This is just a way of reformatting our audio content. And we have a blog called marketingschool.io that you can check out that has just this new content coming out every single time. And by the way, Neil and I mean, every day when we do this podcast, there's a giveaway we do. If you go to singlegrain.com/giveaway, that's a giveaway that you can get into, where, there's a giveaway for Crazy Egg, and also you can also get in on, a demo for ClickFlow, which is the tool I'm going to show you in a second. So anyway, moving on. So this is the traffic increase for that blog at marketingschool.io. We didn't build any links to it, and it was just pure content. So you can see the traffic is going up and to the right, and it's getting about 5,000 visits per month, which is not bad. And keep in mind, this is in 2017. So the question is, okay, 5,000 visits a month, okay, that's fine. But how do we get even more traffic with this? So we're thinking about this, and it was like, okay, well, singlegrain.com has really good domain authority. So what we did was we basically moved that content over to singlegrain.com, and our traffic shot up by 20,000 visits per month. So think about that. Like, we're repurposing content to the blog, and then after that, we're basically moving it over to another blog with higher domain authority, and it's ranking higher, right? So, some of you are probably thinking, oh, well, that's duplicate content. Eric, should we be doing that? It's kind of dangerous. Well, if you Google Matt Cutts duplicate content, he actually did a video on this a couple of years ago, and Google doesn't really count duplicate content unless you're doing it like hundreds of times or thousands of times, right? So if it's content that you legit own and you're moving it to a site that you have that, again, you own, that's fine. You're not like blatantly trying to, abuse the system. And yes, Google will be able to detect it if you're trying to abuse the system. But in this case, we're really not. I mean, we have one for marketingschool.io, and then we're just trying to add, value to the current single grain audience as well. So before I move on to the next thing, I'm actually going to cover some questions you have. So open questions. Tina asked, will there be a recording of this call? This is actually being recorded right now. So you can feel free to email us afterwards, and we'll give you access to this. Lydia is asking if we can make this larger. Lydia, this is maximum size, so I cannot make it larger. Davis is asking, when will the Eric Siu / Neil Patel daily vlog start? So actually, if you go to YouTube and you search both of our names, we actually have YouTube channels respective of each other. And so Neil does his own, I do my own as well. So you can see kind of our different personalities on video. So video is something we're venturing into more. Our current YouTube channel is currently growing. We're at about 6,200 subscribers. So if you want to go check out video content too, if you're not overloaded by Eric Siu content and you're not sick of my voice, go check it out. Okay. Danielle is asking, can you repeat the giveaway link or drop it in the chat, please? You know what? Let me see. Can I do this? All panelists and attendees. So, so that is the product. And then Christy is, okay, so I guess this is really tiny for a lot of you guys. So can you guys not see my screen right now? Let me see, hold on, let me make this smaller. So those of you that are, I guess for those of you that think the screen's too small right now, raise your hand. Okay, nobody. Got it. So Katie or Caddy, it's probably Katie. So Katie, if you just Google the content reusage workflow, you're going to be able to find it, and then it's going to be a much bigger image. So hopefully that works for you. Anyway, so what I'm going to show you now is how you can leverage Google Search Console for free additional search traffic without more links and content. That's our goal here. It's to maximize what we currently have already. So if you go into Google Search Console, and I'll do a live demo really quick, this is basically what you're looking at. You're looking at the top three. So you're checking clicks, impressions, and CTR. And then what you're doing is you go one level below that, and you see where it says pages. You want to make sure that you tick pages. And then from there, you're going to look for pages that have a high impression count, but a low click-through rate. So I'm going to do a live demo of this right now. So I'm going to move over, and then let's go over here. And then let's switch screen. And let's move over to Search Console. Here we go. All right, raise your hand if you can see my screen. Wonderful, thank you. Cool. So Search Console has two different versions now. There's the old version and a new version. The new version allows you to look past 12 months of data, which is good. The old version only gives you 3 months of data, but some people just like using the old version. So I'm going to show you the old version really quick, and then I'll show you the new version as well because I like you guys. So here's what you do. You're looking for pages that have a high impression count but a low click-through rate. So if I go impression, CTR, and then I click on pages, and then what I do is I sort by impressions. So let me explain what I'm doing right here. So I'm basically looking at pages that have Google's giving me the credit, so they're showing impressions for, but I have a low click-through rate. So I'm doing a bad job of writing a good title or a good meta description. Because here's the idea. If Google's giving you the impressions, if you have a better title, a better meta descriptions, your click-through rate is going to go higher because people are more enticed to click on it. So oftentimes we have really unoptimized titles and meta descriptions, and that just ultimately ends up not being good because I think we all want more traffic and we all want more conversions. So really quick out the gate. So again, I clicked on clicks, impressions, and then CTR, and then I highlighted pages over here. And so if I'm looking at, oh, look, by the way, the post I was showing you guys earlier went from 700 to 2,800. Now it's getting about 5,500 clicks per month. Huge, 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 huge. So that's the power of upgrading. Like the proof is in the pudding. I don't need to make anything up. I'm just showing the data right here. And yeah, I mean, that's basically it. So the other thing is we look at number 2 is, okay, Google's giving me 139,000 impressions a month for this page on 15 free SEO tools. Holy crap. Well, Eric, you know what? You have an SEO product. Why are you not figuring out how you can do better here? It has a 0.33% CTR. Why can't we do better? And then on this post on influencer marketing, 53,000 impressions a month, we have 0.33% CTR. Why can't we do better? And in addition, I mean, we can even just look at position. We can add positioning right here. We can see, okay, average positioning for that page actually, we need to sort by impressions again. Okay, this has an average position of 61%. Not 61%, 61. So can we raise that? And then if we look at this one over here, oh, well, I might rank for influencer marketing. How do we get that higher? So you want to be very methodical about this. And then what you want to do is ideally you're having your SEO person download this, export maybe 100 or 150 rows, and then work off this manually. Okay. And then you can also do this with the new Search Console as well. And oh, look, my traffic's going up. Must be doing something right. Anyway, so you click on open report right here. And then what you do is you can look at the last 3 months. That's cool. And then it's a little different. So what you got to do is you got to do total clicks, total impressions, and then you got to add in CTR as well. And then you have to click on pages over here and then sort by impressions. And then it's basically the same thing. I'm showing you the same thing, but I'm looking at 3 months of data. Am I making sense? Okay, cool. So the problem with Google Search Console, and this kind of is segueing directly into the product and basically where you can get a demo of it, is Google Search Console doesn't show you basically how much more money you can make with it. It's very manual. It doesn't save you time, right? And it doesn't allow you to kind of save all the tests that you've ran. So here's what I mean by that. So basically what we did is we scratched our own niche and we created a tool or an SEO product called ClickFlow. And what ClickFlow does is it allows you to test pages. You're basically running AA tests. So you're looking at the past 15 days versus the next 15 days, and you're changing the title or the meta descriptions. So you can see right here at the very top, I'm going to highlight it. you can see this original, the control version, the title is YouTube Advertising Checklist, how to scale YouTube ads for 2018 and beyond. So what we did was we just changed it to step-by-step checklist for a successful YouTube ad campaign. And the CTR jumped by 23% and the clicks jumped by 50%. So let me ask you guys a question. If you're driving 6, 7, 8 figures traffic per month and you're able to make these changes and you multiply it by your conversion rate, your average order value, or your lifetime value, how much more money are you going to make ultimately if you're able to drive, let's say 10, 15, 20, 25% more traffic with the things that you have already? So that's the idea behind ClickFlow. We're basically kind of solving the issue that, well, Google Search Console wasn't allowing for before. So Google Search Console, yes, it's fine. It's very manual. What ClickFlow does is it integrates with Google Search Console and it allows you to do this level of testing. And you can see right here, it shows you the experiments that you win, the ones that you lose as well. You can see right here, well, guess what? We hit a home run. The original title was Twitter ads, how to scale for 2018 and beyond. And then we just changed the title to do Twitter ads really work and how to get the most of them. The CTR jumped 138%, and then the clicks jumped 163%. So there's a lot more that goes into this tool. What I'm going to do is actually switch over to my screen because I'm sure some of you actually want access to this. So let me move over and go over here and then make this bigger again. Okay, so we talked about all this already. This is ClickFlow right here. So curious, I mean, how many of you would actually find use for ClickFlow right now? Just keep in mind, this is for sites that have a little more traffic. Raise your hand if you get use from ClickFlow, you think. Okay, cool. So too bad I can't do any polls with this. I'm really curious to get an idea of kind of where everyone's traffic is right now. But we did this live already. So if you actually want access to ClickFlow, we're doing demos right now. They are guided demos, and it's actually with myself or my co-founder. So you actually get to talk to me a little bit. So just go to singlegrain.com/demo. And yeah, basically you can see from there, you'll fill out a form, book a time with me. And basically my team will be looking at kind of the websites that are fully qualified. So we're looking for phone calls with people that have websites that are at least getting, let's say 20 to 30,000 visits from Google a month. Because otherwise you're not going to have the volume to have a tool like this actually work for you, and then go from there. And I mean, obviously, in addition to that, on the marketing side, if you guys just want to chat, nerd out on marketing, you can just email me directly, eric@singlegrain.com. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to open it up for questions, do some Q&A, and then I will let you get back to your day. But hopefully you got some key takeaways from this. So I'm going to look at Q&A right now. And Julie is asking, excuse me, what if you do not have a super site with high domain authority? Okay. So I think she was alluding back to the example where I moved marketingschool.io content also over to singlegrain.com. So what you want to do there, I mean, you want to start with a base first. You want to set if you think about the podcast, when I look at Growth Everywhere in the very beginning, like it took a very long time for me to do well with it to get to 80,000 downloads a month, which led to Marketing School. So the first year I was getting about 9 downloads a day. I was spending 6 hours a week on it, and I probably shouldn't have been doing that. And then after the second year, I was only getting 30 downloads a day, but I just kept going. So the idea is, if you don't have a site with super high domain authority right now, you just got to build to it. I don't have a really sexy answer for you. It just takes time ultimately. I think ultimately, what kind of sets the pretenders and the contenders apart from each other is that, they're just willing to put the time against it. When I look at Neil, I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's easy for him because he has a brand. But I mean, ultimately, he's been doing this marketing/content marketing stuff for over 17 years. So Leon is asking, how do the experiments work? So basically what we're doing is we're comparing the last 15 days to the next 15, last 15 versus the next 15. And we are doing a title and a meta description change to see how it affects the click-through rate and then the overall traffic increase. And then the idea is basically if you're able to make these changes over time, you're going to get a lot more traffic. You're going to make a lot more revenues. We're talking 6, 7, 8 figures more, just depending on your traffic volumes and then your business economics. Okay, and then Christian is asking, how does this translate to other industries? For example, a very specialized e-commerce site. So I can tell you this ClickFlow is actually probably the most useful for e-commerce companies because you can tie everything to a number, right? Basically, what we do is we allow you to calculate the, you can put in your average order value, your conversion rate, and then how much more projected traffic we can gain for your website. And it'll show you how much more revenue that you can make. And then Davis is asking, can changing page info / title info negatively affect ranking if you change things too often? So the way it can negatively affect rankings is that if your click-through rate starts to drop a lot, even though Google says click-through rate isn't taken into account, like let's think about it. Click-through rate is taken into account because it is the quality of their search engine result page. So if you change something to a title that's like really, really bad versus the last one, you probably want to go ahead and revert that. But you're not going to get in trouble for changing your titles all the time. It's just there's a certain click-through rate, metrics that they're looking at just depending on different industries. Kerwin is asking, what exactly does the software do? Basically, it helps you grow your organic traffic just by helping you optimize your click-through rates based on the content that you have already. I'm going to take a look at the chat as well. Okay, and Brent is asking, if you're not a good writer and you need help creating content, where would you recommend getting help? Fiverr, Upwork, or Trello? Okay, here's what I recommend. I'm going to type this in as well. So I'm going to type this in the chat because I like you guys. So go to ProBlogger.net. So this is what Neil and I talk about all the time. It's kind of our secret weapon for hiring writers. You go to ProBlogger and you go to their job section. You pay $50 to $75. There's a ton of great writers on ProBlogger. Okay, Daniel is saying domain authority has declined in importance. So when evaluating the power of a website, is this true? So I've actually never heard that, but I can tell you that Google took away their page rank, kind of toolbar page ranking like years and years ago. But domain authority is something I still look at and what other SEOs look at. Okay, so Kerwin wants to see, okay, so actually no. Samantha is saying, is there a service that you can trust that can optimize our site for us? So Samantha, if you can be a little more specific as to kind of what you're looking for in terms of like what you're looking to optimize, I can probably help you more. And then Kerwin wants to see a little more. So that kind of goes into a demo, but basically just it's a tool that helps you grow your organic traffic. As long as you have more than 20 to 30,000 visits a month, you can just go to singlegrain.com/demo and I'll have a chat with you. And Daniel is asking, which one do you consider the most accurate? SEO Moz, DA, Ahrefs, DR, or Majestic? I've actually been looking more at Ahrefs because it's the favorite tool of both Neil and myself. Having said that, we still do cross-reference it with Moz from time to time. And there's actually a case study on this. I mean, somebody did a case study on Moz versus Ahrefs versus Majestic just to see how clean the link data is. So I'm sure you can find that case study if you Google it. David's asking, would you use Search Console to reverse engineer meta titles and descriptions for your web pages? Absolutely. So our tool, basically what it does is it shows you the top 50 keywords for every single page. It shows you all the changes you made for one page. And then those keywords will give you ideas for different titles that you should be writing. It also helps you be a better copywriter as well. We've had customers actually come on this webinar and say like it actually helps them become a better writer. Okay, so Davis is asking, any quick insights on how videos like on YouTube rank among normal web pages in Google search? There are some good case studies on this, but keep in mind, I mean, Google owns YouTube. So sometimes I don't really have a good answer for this. I'll be very honest. But sometimes you can find queries that tend to have a bunch of, at least one or two YouTube results at the top. So what I would say is this. I would talk to or go to the channel Video Creators by Tim Schmoyer. Check him out. He's really good at YouTube, and he's actually going to be on the Growth Everywhere podcast in the next couple months. I think I'm backlogged a couple months already, but I actually just interviewed him earlier this week or last week. Holy crap, time flies. All right, any final questions from you guys? One more question right here. So Brent is asking, when do you recommend long form copy versus short form? I read a lot of posts and emails daily, and I prefer somewhere in the middle. Does this matter based on the content that you're writing about? Okay, so I think it's at the end of the day, it's preference, right? So if you go to backlinko.com, that's Brian Dean's SEO website. He only has like 30 posts or so. Gets about 130, 140,000 visits a month, which is great. So his is all long form. If you look at neilpatel.com, you look at quicksprout.com, if you look at singlegrain.com, we're all aiming for 1,500 to 2,000 words at least per post. That just does better for us because we have for us personally, for me personally, we have a decent domain authority, and we know that if we write stuff, the longer content we write, the we're going to capture more long tail traffic because Google's kind of capturing those different keywords. So we're fine with that. And, for us, I mean, again, it's about capturing more mind share. So I prefer long form, but having said that, it doesn't mean, you necessarily need to just go long winded all the time. Like if you can get it succinct done in 2 sentences, there's no reason to write 1,000 or 2,000 word posts. Yes. So Martin, I will write the name. It is Tim Schmoyer. I believe I spelled that right. And then video creators is the YouTube channel. Brian is saying our company has a ton of blog/buying guide content, and we are looking to rename/rebrand. Any suggestions on keeping our juice? Here's what I recommend, Brian. So Moz did a rebrand from SEO Moz years ago, and I think they actually wrote about what they did and kind of pitfalls that they faced. I would go look for that case study. So just Google Moz rebrand. Let's do this. So maybe it's Moz rebrand case study. That should help you. Okay, and then Daniel's asking, so this is the final question I will answer before I let you guys go. If you have to rank your best channels, content, email, YouTube, in what order? I know it's different for everyone, but what is it for you? Okay, so I think content really applies to all of these. I will say podcast is number 1 for me. And then I will go with blogs are really good for us just because we get, a good amount of traffic from blogs. And then from there, I would say, I mean, attending events and throwing events are really, when you say best channels, I'm going to look at, ROI from an ROI perspective. Those are really good. And then what's interesting is even though our YouTube channel has, 6,200 subscribers, which is not that much. And when I go speak at conferences, when I go into like the speaker room sometimes, or I talk to other people, I run into people that say like they watch my videos. So let's say even if you have like sub 1,000 subscribers, let's say you have 100 or 200 or so, you might think nobody's watching your stuff, but a lot of people actually are. So yeah, I would just say just keep going with it. And it's tough for me to have to restart with YouTube and build up from 1,000 to 3,000 to 6,000. But at the end of the day, I think you realize that everything's just a tough slog, and it's all about you get what you put in. So hopefully this is really helpful to you. Go to singlegrain.com/demo, and then my team will check to see if it makes sense for us to have a call or not, and then we can give you private access to the tool, and then get your feedback on it. But I'll probably come bother you because we're looking to really deliver a great experience for everyone. So hopefully you enjoy this. Hope you all have a good rest of your week, and I will talk to you again soon. See you later.